it really tastes good. And yes, that is very possible, very possible. I'm going to let you know that I've got a thing going on in my eye. I'm not crying. I just have to dab it every now and then because it's watering a lot. So forgive me for that. So my story, when I was a kid, I pretty much had a pretty decent weight until I got into my junior, senior in high school. And then I kind of just started putting on the weight. And I played basketball in high school. And my dad, bless his heart, love him, but he would say things to me like, you should be on the football team because you look more like a football player than a basketball player, and things like that. So I have some pictures that I pulled out. So this was my junior year, and then these two are my senior year, and so you can see a lot, you know, in the face how much I was really puffy looking and just really not healthy. And although I was smiling on those pictures, I think if you look really closely, don't really look that happy. You know, for pictures you're like, oh, I gotta smile. But if you really look, you can see that I was not a happy person then. What happened was I had a teen magazine, and in that teen magazine, it had this questionnaire, are you addicted to food? So I took the questionnaire, and I either passed or failed miserably. I don't know how you want to look at it. But do you hide food? Do you lie about food? Do you sneak food? You know, do you eat when you're not hungry? All these things. And it was like, yep, I do all of that. I'm a mess. And it's really no different than an addiction to alcohol or an addiction to drugs, except that if you're addicted to drugs and addicted to alcohol, you can say, I will never touch that again. And not that that's easy by any means, but can you ever say, I will never touch food again? No, because you have to eat to survive. And so as a person who's addicted to food, come on in, Dawn. As a person that's addicted to food, you have to face that every time you're around food. And I had patterns like, every time I got home from school, I ate. And I still do that now. Every time I walk in the house, I gotta feel like I have to eat something. We go grocery shopping, and we're unpacking groceries, and I'm pulling stuff open and eating it, you know, peeling this, but it's healthy food now that I'm snacking on and eating all the time instead of the unhealthy stuff. Now, am I a purist by any means? No. I still eat things that are considered unhealthy once in a while. But if you don't have variety, you're gonna get bored and you're not gonna stick with it. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. So I lost the most weight when I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 24. So this is a picture of me with her when she was a baby. And then, and you know, normally people gain weight when they're pregnant. I just kind of slowly lost, and not that I was trying to lose weight, I was still eating, but I didn't increase what I was eating. So by being pregnant, I just kind of went down to more of a healthy weight, really. And then I kind of maintained it until, and then, so oddly enough, I had the baby, and then I got married 5 years later. I don't know how that worked, but anyway, I was a naughty girl for a little while. We won't get into that. But I maintained my weight for a while, and then I got married, and then slowly I gained some more weight back. And then even when I was in chiropractic college, I started in 2007 in chiropractic college, and I was at about 130 pounds during that whole time. And then when I got out of chiropractic college in 2010, I realized, you know, if I'm going to be telling people how they need to eat and all these things, I better walk the walk. And so I really got serious about eating healthy and changing my habits, because I was thin back then, but I still wasn't a healthy thin. Whereas now it's because I'm eating healthier, and that's why I'm at the weight that I'm at and have maintained it now for 4 years without, you know, and is it because you're exercising all the time? No, it's been over a month since I've exercised. Again, it's about variety. I'll let you know too, I tend to kind of jump around at things, so I've kind of put this up here just to keep me on track. It gets me a bit excited. So I think that we can learn a lot from our animals, either whether they're our pets or just animals out in nature, okay? So if you take a look at lions and tigers and wolves, what do they mostly eat? a
Raw
quiz.
food.
Right, but what is it? Raw
Meat.
meat, okay? Should they be eating lots of grass? Participation. Should wolves and tigers
No.
and yeah, right, because why? That's not what they're naturally designed to eat. They got the big teeth for ripping and tearing into things, okay? But they are eating the meat raw. They don't build a fire and cook it, because naturally they're supposed to eat raw foods. Now we've taken the dogs, we bring them in our house, we domesticate them, we give them the bags of dog food made mostly of corn and wheat, and now what happens? They get arthritis and all these illnesses and diseases that we gotta take them to the vet so that they can get healthy. Why? Because they're not eating what they're naturally designed and supposed to be eating, which is raw meat. See, does that make sense? So am I here to tell you, everybody should start eating raw meat? No, because we're not dogs and we're not lions and we're not tigers. Those animals were designed to eat that kind of thing. So what about the gazelles and the deer and cows? What do they mostly eat?
Grass.
Grass, right, with maybe a few bugs mixed in that are crawling around. But they're definitely not getting protein from the bugs, because they'd have to eat a lot of bugs in order to account for the amount of protein that an animal that size would need. Would you agree?
Mhm.
But again, they're eating what their natural state is supposed to be, that they're eating that grass. And they are getting enough calcium, and they are getting enough protein, because they're eating the foods that were meant for them to eat. Now you take an elephant or a rhinoceros, something big like that. They eat lots of grass too. I've never seen an elephant eating a hamburger or drinking a glass of milk. I mean, and they've got massive bones, so they must be getting their calcium from the foods that they eat. So, if we eat the way we're naturally designed to eat, we should have all the nutrients that we need as well. Make sense so far? Anybody have any questions? Let me know. I don't mind interruptions or comments or anything. So, we want to eat the natural way that we should eat, but how do you know? I mean, there's books like Eat Right for Your Blood Type and all of these things. So, try things. You know, if you eat a lot of meat and you're tired all the time and your blood pressure's skyrocketing and all these things, then maybe go with a raw diet. See how that works for you. If you got a lot more energy, you're never sick and all that, that's probably the diet for you. But what if you go on a raw food diet and you're tired all the time, then maybe that's not for you. So kind of try some different things and see what works for you, because I'm not here to tell you that what I do is exactly right for everybody, because it isn't. We have to figure out what works for us and look for things that keep us healthy. So, excuses. What are some of the excuses that we make for not eating the healthy foods that we know we should eat?
Can't afford it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What's the other one?
Time.
Time, okay. Okay,
Doesn't taste good.
all right. One more, come on, we can do it.
Go with the crowd.
Oh, nobody else is doing it, right? Everybody else is going to McDonald's and Burger King and all those other places. Okay, so let's talk about these. Money. What's the going rate for cancer treatment these days? And even if you have insurance, what's that?
Depends on what kind.
Yeah. And even if you have insurance, does insurance pay 100%?
No.
Not always. Okay. So your out-of-pocket expense for that could be pretty high in comparison to investing in your health by purchasing the healthy foods. Okay. What about time? I don't have enough time. It's so hard to prepare all this stuff because I gotta buy a juicer and I gotta do all this stuff. So what about this? Okay. This could be how you can pack your lunch. Cashews, bananas. Done. Okay, how much time did that take? And how much time is it gonna take for me to peel those bananas and eat those cashews? Not a lot. And you think that's not a meal. But 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 calories right there. And then 6, 7, there could be 800 calories by the time I eat this.
You eat all of that?
Oh
As
yeah,
one meal?
sure. I know it seems like a lot.
5
doesn't
of
it?
the same thing.
Yeah, but you don't have to. I might only eat 3, you know. But I'm just saying, 5. There's about 100 calories in each banana. So if you want the calories, then eat 5 bananas. I mean, you can make a big smoothie and you can get really full from a 5-banana smoothie. And it seems like, ugh. But you know what? You don't do that every day. Then maybe the next day it's a whole package of strawberries. Or what about, how many of you would ever go buy one of these and eat that whole thing for one meal for a salad?
You can't see what it is because you're.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh.
salad. You know, like any
Okay.
kind of salad that's in these packages. How many
It
of
would
you
take
would?
me 3 days.
Okay.
at
Do you know?
least.
You know how many calories is in the whole thing? Any guesses?
80? Not a lot. 200.
Okay, and then we're just talking the lettuce now. Okay.
30.
35.
Huh.
35. So how? I figured out. If you want to get 2,100 calories, you'd have to eat 60 of these.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, if you think about, let's take a look at the cow again. They graze all day long. Okay, so all they're doing is eating this kind of stuff all day long. See? And we think, I could never eat a salad that big. Why not? Okay, but obviously we're gonna put, you know, we might put some cashews on there, and we might put dressing on there, and maybe a hard-boiled egg or something like that. But you could still eat that whole thing and add that on there, because this doesn't account for very many calories. And you look at that and you go, I can't eat that huge salad. But you can. Just load up with the lettuce and then put just a small amount of the other stuff. Now, protein. If you ate, so if you ate the whole thing, 4 grams of protein. So if you ate your 60 of them, you'd have 232 grams of protein. So again, we always think, I have to eat meat for protein. Well, no, you don't. You can get your protein from other sources. Quinoa. Have anybody heard of quinoa? Okay, awesome. That's a very good source of all of your protein. It's well balanced, because protein, what protein is the amino acids put back together. So you got, you know, valine, leucine, phenylalanine, and the whole list that I can't remember all of them right at the top of my head. So we wanna consider that we don't want to deprive our body. We want to be eating so that we go, man, I'm full, and then go for a while without eating. Or maybe you're the type of person that needs to just graze all day long. Then do that. So again, whatever works for you, but find something that works. So time. And how much time does it take for a person to drive over to Rochester, to sit for their chemo and their radiation, drive back, and then be sick and throwing up and their hair falling out and they can't go to work? You know, that takes a lot of time too. So, would you rather invest in a juicer and take the time to make the juice, or would you rather invest in the time to drive over to Rochester for your chemo? You know, it's those kinds of things. Is we got to shift our thinking. I'd rather invest in my health right now. And taste. Our taste buds change, just like the cells. You know, your hair grows out, and your skin, you get new skin every day. Same thing with your tongue. Okay, all those taste buds are eventually going to change, and your body, your tongue is going to get used to the new flavors, and you're going to start eating this stuff, and it's going to taste great. And then when you go to take a bite of that candy bar that you used to eat that you thought was so wonderful, and you'll go to the garbage and spit it out, because it tastes just as bad to you as that stuff used to taste. I mean, it's cool when this stuff starts happening. My daughter talked me into driving through Culver's the other day. I'm like, oh, give me one of your French fries. And she goes, I don't know why you're doing that. And I took a French fry and I started eating it. I just couldn't eat it. I went, oh, spit that out. Because it really, your taste buds change, and it's so cool when that happens, because you know you don't want that other stuff anymore. So, it can happen, it can change, just like you can learn to love exercise eventually. I haven't gotten there yet. And yeah, where do we have in this town to go where, like, you've gone to the Twin Cities and they've got that place called Cucumbers. And it's this
Amazing.
whole spread of just wonderful, delicious foods.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some salad bars and stuff, but they've got all the other stuff too to tempt a person. So I hope that someday we'll end up with some healthier choices here in town, but for now, that's kind of a challenge. And you know, I don't know if you guys have been places where you got the person that's like, oh, I'm not gonna eat that because it's got this, and I'm not gonna eat that because of that, and can you please bring me a special thing of this and that? It's just, So again, if you're a purist, nobody's gonna like it. So you have to, you know, you're gonna have to realize that, you know, if you choose to go somewhere and they're serving a certain food, maybe you're just gonna drink some water at that function. And that's gonna, that'll need to be okay too. And your good healthy water,
Yeah,
yes.
either plain water or water with,
Lemon?
no, raw apple cider vinegar
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a tiny bit of stevia.
Yeah, and, oh, and that reminds me too, when you say stevia. Animals don't have stevia and aspartame and all that other stuff to keep them thin. Again, they're out in nature and they're doing what nature tells them to do, so, you know, they don't have a Burger King and McDonald's to run to either, so. And I keep bringing up all these names, so erase all that out of your mind. Okay, oopsie, how am I doing for time? Okay, 10 more minutes. So, basically when we're talking about, you know, health and overall health, food is just one of the things, right, that we need to look at. But it can, your food can transform your life, so you don't have to do a bunch of exercise. You can actually change, and I don't have my glasses on.
Cultured
So,
food.
Cultured food, oh, yep, there's another thing.
3 recipes
Okay.
that I can share.
Okay, and I'm gonna let you guys decide if you wanna stay and chat afterwards. I do have a patient that had called that needs to see me at 6:15. So I'll wrap it up and then we can chat for a little while, and you guys, whoever needs to leave can leave, and if you guys wanna stay and chat, that's awesome too. So, when we're looking
I
at.
wanna be sure that you define raw foods, because we're
Oh.
hearing this term, so we wanted to come and find out
Okay.
what that is.
Sure, okay, so raw is, and there's kind of this arbitrary number like 118 degrees. So anything that's been heated over 118 degrees, some people will say over 105 degrees. So that's why a lot of people in raw foods will use a dehydrator, so that you can take the foods and you can get the moisture out, but you haven't cooked it. So think of it in terms of, if I have a pot of boiling water and I put my hand in there, it's gonna cook my hand's gonna die, basically, the skin will die. But if you have water that's only 110 degrees or 115 degrees, you can stand there and you can keep your hand in there and you're not gonna burn your hand. Does that help? To kind of explain it a little bit? Think of it also too, if I have a potato and I chop it up and I go throw it out in my garden or dig it in and put it in my garden, what's gonna happen eventually? The potato's gonna grow. But if I bake that potato and I chop it up and I go put it out in the garden, what's gonna happen to those pieces of potato?
It's just fertilizer.
Yeah, they'll rot. See, so we want to think of it in terms of, is this alive? Is this giving me life? Because it's still basically alive. Does that make sense? I'm hoping so. Okay. All right. So when we look at you know, our lives in terms of ultimate health, that basically means that our body is in balance. But when we're not healthy, we have disease, we're out of balance. So what are some things, if you just maybe give me 5 different things that are, that you think of when somebody's really healthy?
pH is in balance.
Okay,
Clear complexion.
okay. We'll just put an arrow.
Normal weight.
What are some other things? Okay. I don't know if my handwriting is good. What are some other
Happier.
things? Happy, cool.
I've been thinking
Anybody got one more for me? When somebody's healthy, what are some things?
They got
that
more
come to mind.
energy and vibrant.
Energy, yeah. I mean, and if they're unhealthy, you know, this stuff is all out of balance, right? Now, can people be overweight and still be healthy? Yeah. I mean, can people be thin and be unhealthy? Yeah, so again, you gotta look at the whole package. And so this MCP here stands for mental, chemical, and physical. So if we're talking foods, we're just talking basically that. So, and that, okay? But so what about the mental part of food? Is it possible that if I believe that if I eat this, that it's gonna make me the healthiest person, that it could still help me if I eat it? If I believe that 100%? Maybe. But if I think this could give me cancer if I eat that, then maybe it will. So we gotta consider how much our mind is playing into our health and or illness as well. So it's kind of a whole package deal. So I won't add these to the list. So basically I've got the 5 S's for what we need to do if we are gonna have a whole lifestyle change, because it needs to be a lifestyle change. We can't just change the way we eat for a while because we wanna lose a bunch of weight, because what happens is usually people gain it right back because they haven't changed their lifestyle. So the first one is that we wanna make it simple, okay? Just like grabbing those bananas and putting them in a bag and taking those nuts, that's pretty simple, okay? But we make it complicated when we say, I've gotta do this and then. Simplify, simplify. It doesn't have to be processed in a juicer, you can just eat the fruit. But we wanna chew it, chew your food. Because the more that you chew it before you swallow it, the better chance your body has to digest it. Okay, so we want it simple, we want it satisfying. So eventually, it is gonna be satisfying. And the one thing that satisfies us most is fat. So that's why we wanna eat nuts, because nuts have fat. We wanna eat coconut oil, because I'm gonna let you share afterwards because I wanna stay on time. Avocados are a good fat. So if you're transitioning and you really wanna just go raw, you still are gonna wanna get those fats in, because what's gonna happen is you're just gonna go enough, and then you're gonna go and eat all this stuff that's not healthy. So allow yourself, while you're transitioning, to eat a baked potato with an avocado on it. Eat, something cooked. And then again, you might not even want us to transition all the way to raw. That's okay too. Again, do what works for you, but find something that works, that brings you total health. Okay, so another one of the 5 S's is that it's spicy. Okay, now in terms of spicy, I don't mean that you've added a bunch of spice, right? What do we call the spice of life? Variety, right? Variety is the spice of life. So you want to have variety. You don't want to eat the same thing over and over every day, or you're going to get bored. So just change it up. Skip breakfast once in a while. Skip lunch once in a while. It's okay, I mean, when the animals are out in nature, they don't have a clock that says, this is what I'm gonna eat, and then they run to the corner and grab lunch. They gotta work for their food too, so make sure that, that you're changing it up and keeping your body guessing what's going on. So another 5, and see, I wrote them down here because I didn't know that I'd remember them all. But you guys can't see them, I don't think.
No.
Sustainable, how about that?
Sustainable, is that right there, yes. It needs to be long-term so that you can sustain it throughout your life rather than just do these little short-term fixes, so to speak. And what was the last one? Or did I cover? Oh yeah, and then still alive, so that it's at least close to. So if you have a potato and you bake that potato, I mean, it was alive just right before you baked it, so not such a bad thing. But a potato chip is quite a few steps away from aliveness, right? So the farther away from the time it was alive until now it's dead and processed and you're peeling the bag open to eat it, the more unhealthy it probably is. Okay, so thank you all for coming. I just want to wrap up by saying we'll be here again the third Thursday next month, and the topic is going to be having a healthy heart, since it's February and Valentine's Day. And then if you also want to mark on your calendars, October 3rd, I have Maximizing Wealth and Wellness Conference coming up, and that's going to feature Dr. Fabrizio Mancini, who has been on the Dr. Phil and the Doctor's TV show. And another one of our key speakers is Peg Webb from Wealth Enhancement Group, if you've heard her on Your Money on WCCO on Sundays. So, thank you again for coming. I hope that this was helpful and not too confusing.
Is there somewhere where we can get some basic information on
Oh, sure, and you know,
raw foods?
yeah, are you online at all? Okay.
Here's our online.
There's a
Next
gal,
month.
a friend that I know, her name is Lori Torbenson, and Lori, welcome.
Hey.
We're just wrapping up, so you,
That's okay, at least I made an appearance.
perfect timing, there you go. You are Boyd.
That's nice.
Okay, well, welcome. He's got some fun information to share too.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lori Torbenson, starting this fall, or this spring, on, I think it's the first Monday of the month, does a raw food potluck. And I had attempted to do one this winter and then I kind of fell through. So you can, you know, it's the type of thing where you can come and you can bring bananas, or you can bring some fancy thing, like this recipe here, where it's, now that's not 100% raw if you make it like I do, because I use those chips. But if you follow that recipe, 100%, it's pretty raw.
So just look up Lori Torbenson?
Hers on, are you on Facebook?
No, that we could.
Okay. The other thing too is if I have your email, I can send updates so that you can get the information as things are coming up.
Yeah, because you did a presentation a couple months ago I was interested in.
Yeah, okay, which one is
Thyroid.
Thyroid.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
okay.
too.
Yeah, and I tried to videotape that one and it didn't work. But yeah, I mean again, thyroid, if your thyroid's out of balance, that means something is out of balance in your whole system. And it could be stress in the adrenal gland that is causing the thyroid to not work. So you kind of backtrack and see what is the underlying thing that's creating this, and this, until finally, oh, this is the dash light on the car that's shining saying fix something. But there's all these underlying things that are there when you open the hood.
Okay, not to dominate, but do you have a website for that? And then I'll be quiet.
Oh, no, if you go to my website, gentlebackcare.com, which is on the card,
Oh, okay.
I have a page that says resources, and there's a bunch of different videos on there. And if you just start searching online for, you know, raw foods, and the other thing, a lot of times people will get online and they'll look for, you know, things that lead them down to the medical route of how to fix things. So if you can start your search out with natural healing of, and then whatever it is you're looking for, you're more likely to find the resources that are going to take you down the path of a healthier option versus how to cure my, or how to treat, my this or that. Excuse me. Sorry. All right, Miss Dawn.
For anyone who is on Facebook, there are a lot of groups about health and fitness, healthier recipes, kombucha, fermenting, and if you connect with me, I can connect you to those. My daughter just printed out some stuff, kefir recipe. Okay, that's all kefir.
Thank you for
There's
bringing that.
cultured vegetables and kombucha.
Because fermenting is
So
a
you
really
can
good
pass
thing to
them
do
around.
also.
And then this is raw chocolate made with
Thank you.
raw unfiltered coconut oil,
Okay,
organic. Also, local honey
okay,
and, chocolate powder.
very good.
And,
Mhm. So see, you can still eat sinful stuff and have it be
Yes.
healthy, which is a real nice thing to be able to offer.
I think that's the colored version.
Yeah, and I just wanna say, you know,
Black and white version.
I might be the person up front talking, but we have a lot of expertise in this room. And so I would like, you know, you guys to feel free
I'll let
to,
you can just pass it around and take it.
oh my gosh, she printed off a whole packet.
Yes, there are
Oh.
3 different things.
Okay, and now, here's some
So-
black and white ones.
Yeah, they did not print out right.
Oh, okay, but this whole packet, is that right?
Yes,
Oh, I see.
she ran out of ink.
Oh, okay. Well, I think for the most part, we can read all of these, right? Well, this is her original?
No, she's, well, actually, part of that, the colored kombucha is her original, but the
Okay.
other ones are, copies for me,
Mhm.
and I
Okay.
thought maybe if you can get copies of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if there's a link on the website, we can always
Yes.
share that somewhere on the website too, yep. So, just wanna let everybody know, right now it's almost 10 minutes to 6, so if anybody does need to leave, you go ahead and leave, and if you get your email on there, we'll keep you
I did.
updated. Okay, thanks, Dar, I
Mhm.
hope that it was helpful.
It was, thank you.
I'd like you to sign this way.
Here, I just cut them all squares.
I'll just, I'll sneak these chairs
All
in.
her, all her fault. Look at
Oh,
this.
that looks like a resource. See that?
Yeah, look
I
at
found it at the thrift store.
Ah, perfect. Can't be better than that.
Yeah, I know, I was like,
Did you want to get, notified?
That's
about
good.
that?
and there's recipes in it.
Well, I heard about this group she's talking about, and I
Yeah.
thought, well,
Yeah,
it would
if
be
you want
interesting to
that.
go, but I wouldn't even know what to bring.
Yep.
I like
Whenever you
a lot
come
of
to Dr. Jan's, just
I'm gonna
bring
sneak
a
it.
paper and pencil
Grab another
and
piece
take
and
notes
pass it
and
over
we'll
this way.